All right, so here we go. We are now live, ladies and gentlemen. This is once again another live edition of Around the Point. Holy crap. It is August 2nd, 2020. Summer, if you think about it, is almost over. And honestly, I cannot wait till we get to September. I really cannot wait. I've said this before and I'll say it again. As I get older, I have more of an appreciation for the fall, believe it or not. But that's just me. That is just completely me. I hope all of you had a wonderful week in whatever it is that you did. Hopefully you all had a wonderful week, and also hopefully wherever you were at, it was nice as far as the weather goes. And here I am, as you can see, in the flesh once again. Thank you all, as always, for tuning in live here today on youtube.com/KeelSteven. You can also check out Around the Point on all the podcasting platforms where you can listen to the show, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, Google Podcasts. Also, our sponsor, as always, the good people over at Anchor.fm. You can follow me on Twitter at HeelSteven. And my week overall has been, all over the place. Completely all over the place. Work-wise, if you will, been tiring. I think it's more because of the heat, if you will, summer and all that shit. But I was hoping for something on Tuesday. So a couple of weeks ago, yours truly got a parking ticket. Yeah, one of these shits. A fucking parking ticket. And it said that I had to go to court. For whatever reason. Now, granted, I tried to pay this online, but my ticket could not be found. So Tuesday morning, I go to court. I miss a day of my morning job for this whole thing. Keep that in mind, by the way. And I walk up in there, and I'm just, you know what? I was going to go in there, fuck this, just pay my ticket, however much it is. As silly as it is, because, again, they put here... By the way, they put here on the ticket for no stopping and standing. I parked in a no stopping and standing section. Now, keep this in mind. Where I parked is literally in front of my house. And there's another sign that says no parking on Friday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. because they do street cleaning. And by the way, I have the AC on because it's hot as shit. And I explained this last week. So if you hear the AC in the background, I apologize in advance. So, again, the ticket is silly because across from my house, there's a deli where people go and have their coffee in the morning and they get that, right? So, people park literally in that exact spot and nothing never happens to them. There's people that park there overnight and nothing happens to them. I just parked there because there was no place to park. So I was like, fuck all this shit. I'm parking right there. I go inside my house. I take a nap. I go get something to eat. And I realize, holy shit, there's a ticket right there. And it made no fucking sense. And get this, there's cops. There's cops that literally that literally show up to this deli that I mentioned earlier, a couple of seconds ago. And they chill there. They interact with people, right? It's a friendly little deli, if you will, right? And they don't even write a ticket to nobody. Even the people that I despise, like those fucking people that put tickets, right? Those parking ticket people, right? They're like the fucking patrol officers or hall monitors, if you will. But their job to literally look at every fucking parking meter and write a ticket out. I think those people are the scum of the fucking earth. Let me just say that right now. But yours truly got a fucking ticket. So I go there on the fucking 28th of July. Peruvian Independence Day. Fiestas Patrias. For all my Peruvian people out there, right? This past Tuesday. Hope all of you had your ceviche, anticuchos, and all that stuff. So I go to court around early in the morning. I'm like, okay, I've never been to court before. Keep that in mind. Never been to court. I'm expecting something crazy. I envision, in my mind, divorce court, Judge Judy. For all my Hispanic people out there that listen to the show, caso cerrado, if you will. I envision all that shit in my head, right? How this is gonna go down. And I was planning to dispute this ticket. Cause you think about it. If they would have told me, okay, this ticket is gonna cost you less than $50, fuck it. I was gonna pay it off, whatever. It is what it is. I'm done. However, if they're gonna tell me it's like $70 or $100, fuck that. I was gonna dispute this shit. I was going to. So I show up. Can't hear a thing, brother. You're good. I can. Cool, awesome. We're Gucci. I guess as far as the AC goes. So I show up, right, and they send me to this lady. I guess she's inside of a fucking window, right? I guess just to pay off the ticket. But again, it said court, whatever, right? So I'm giving the lady the ticket number and all that shit, right? Oh, the ticket's not found. Still. Granted, this ticket was issued, by the way, this ticket was issued on the 16th of July. It's been 2 weeks almost. Yet the ticket is still not in the fucking system. What the fuck is up with this shit? Now I'm starting to believe that it was some asshole cop who trying to, you know, scare people and shit. Because let's be real about it too. Can you name me any in your city that you guys may live in, right? In your city, what have you, right? They don't give out written tickets no more. I guarantee you that. All these tickets now are printed out. It's digital. It's on some advanced paper material and shit. That's what the tickets are nowadays. So in a way, I was kind of upset because fuck, I missed an entire Tuesday of my morning job and all that stuff. And there was that. I went home. After that, I went back to sleep. I literally went back to sleep. Fuck all this shit. Woke up around, I want to say 3 p.m. time, 4 p.m. time. I'm a heavy sleeper, believe it or not. I'm a heavy fucking sleeper. I do snore too. I'm 30. I don't care. I do snore. I work out. I do my shit that I got to do. And there was that. That was my week, basically. My week has been working out, and just hoping that all this whole with the pandemic comes to an end. I've heard reports in my town, okay, in my state of New Jersey, by the way, all right, that there was a house party in Jackson, which, by the way, if you don't, I know a lot of you who listen to the show are not from New Jersey. Jackson is a suburban town where Six Flags Great Adventures is located here in Jersey. I know Six Flags and the theme park is in different parts of the country as well. I'm fully aware of that. But here in Jersey, Six Flags is in Jackson, New Jersey, right? So there was a house party of 700 people. Yes, 700 people. And I'm like, when I heard this shit, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Seriously. Now, granted, apparently, so it turns out that they rented an Airbnb for the weekend, and in this said Airbnb, they threw the party of 700 people. And you can imagine, right? It's a house party, 700 people, no social distancing, no mask, I'm assuming, that were worn. And there's that, and the numbers in that area spiked up again, and each day the shit's getting worse. And again, and I'm thinking about all this, right? And again, I'm talking about my state, by the way. I don't know how it is in your respective state, but over here, as far as people acting reckless, you hear this from the suburb towns. You don't hear this shit from the hood. And I live in a town that in part is considered the hood, but you don't hear anything about all people being reckless in Newark or Elizabeth, in fucking East Orange, Irvington. Just saying, you hear this from the suburb towns like Middletown, Long Branch, Jackson, like I mentioned earlier, you know, Asbury. But again, what I'm referring to is, again, it's the suburbs that's acting crazy, that are acting reckless, that are part of the problem right now. And again, you know, for all this talk that we're hearing, oh, there's a vaccine on the way, they're in phase 3. It's gonna be a whole process still. I was talking about this with my father earlier. Like, yo, this whole shit is not gonna end even when we get to the new year. So don't be surprised, people. Don't be fucking surprised. Okay? Do not be fucking surprised. Anyway, I know I just spewed off there with a little talk here about my week and what's been going on with me and all that stuff. I did say that I will be going to a wrestling show. Yes, I know. I'm kind of a hypocrite, right? Holy crap. I talked about GCW last week and the fact that they're running a show. They ran a show last week in Atlantic City, and Nick Gage came out, and he came out to the ring, and people just congregated around him, and they all like did a whole fucking mosh pit around him, and right now cracked about how there was no social distance and all that stuff. Granted, it was an outdoor show, and we did have a discussion about having a outdoor show. Should independent shows, right, run these outdoor shows during a pandemic? We had that discussion, yet here I am. And I know, again, it's kind of hypocritical of me. I'm gonna try my best to put up with all this crap coming up in a couple of weeks. It's literally on the 22nd, the day before SummerSlam, so likely I am missing TakeOver Live, but it is what it is. This week in wrestling has been kind of crazy. I watched Raw. I watched Impact. Literally today, I finished watching Dynamite. I didn't watch SmackDown. I saw parts of it. If you heard some things and all that stuff. So there's that. And I also heard about the what's it called? The earnings. Yeah, the fucking second quarter earning reports that happened this past Thursday. So if you guys have questions for the show, I do encourage you dorks to send in your questions, if you will. Send them in, if you will. I encourage you guys, again, send in your question, all that stuff, and I'll answer them as we get through the show as well, as we get through this. So WWE this past Thursday had their second quarter earning reports, and you think about this, right? Pandemic, how WWE will be doing since they're doing all their shows right now. Again, you wonder how they're doing from a financial standpoint, considering the fact that, hey, we're in a pandemic. They're not doing house shows. They're not on the road. They're doing everything in one location in Orlando at the Performance Center, right? The numbers for WWE have been impressive. They've gone up. And at the same time, though, Vince in this conference call got chewed up, and I'll get into it also in a bit. So I'm not gonna go into every fucking detail and all that shit and what was said, but I'm gonna give you here the cliff notes that I chopped down here, if you will. Revenues were $223.4 million as compared to $268.9 million in the prior year quarter, reflecting the timing of the company's large-scale event in Saudi Arabia. Revenues reached a record of $514.4 million year to date, representing 14% growth from the prior year period. Operating incomes was $55.7 million as compared to the $17.1 million in the prior year. So that went up. Good on them for that. But again, you gotta keep this in mind. We're in a pandemic. They're not really going anywhere right now. How can I get a girl to like me? I'll get into it also in a little bit. All right, Silver Surfer, how can I get a girl to like me? I'll explain that in a little bit. I'm gonna help you out. Help you dorks out, okay? Also, operating income before depreciation of amortization increased to $73.5 million from $34.6 million in the prior year quarter. Free version of the WWE Network was announced on June 1st, unlocking a portion of the WWE's content library to expand reach and engagement of its direct-to-consumer streaming service for all fans. The WWE Network average average paid subscribers declined 1.5% to 1.66 million, while ending paid subscribers increased 6% to 1.69 million. Digital videos views increased 10% to a record of 9.9 billion, and hours consumed increased 15% to a record of 374 million across digital and social media platforms. You gotta keep this in mind, all right? Everyone's staying at home, so of course now people are forced to get the WWE network, just as Netflix or Disney Plus or ESPN Plus, if you will. Hulu, what have you, Amazon, however, whatever you get down with, people are now forced to stay home. Granted, I'm pretty sure with Amazon and Hulu and all the other platforms, you can share accounts. With the WWE network, you're just getting you can sign up for free. I'm not sure if they're doing that anymore. I know when you try to cancel, they offer you a free month or 3 months, whatever the fuck it is, for like $1 or free, what have you. But the reality is now, everyone's at home. No one's going to someone's house because, again, of the pandemic and being clean and just being safe and all that shit. So now they're forced not to fork over and all that stuff. So there's that too. E-commerce revenues nearly doubled to 12.6 million, substantially offering the loss of venue merchandise sales with 76 fewer events in the quarter. So there's that. As far as can you please go back to Ghetto Heel Steven 2013 Red Pills for one day, LOL. Which version of the WWE draft would you like to see in October? The lottery pick concept or the war room? I'll get into that in a little bit too. I don't know, man. That Heel Steven, man, he is somewhere chilling, somewhere inside, man. But again, bro, I'm 30 now. I'm a 30-year-old man. I remember, you know, it's funny. Before I go back to this whole thing with the fucking earnings and shit like that, I actually, believe it or not, the other day, I went back into my old laptop, which is here right now, by the way. My fucking, my Asus laptop. This was the old laptop, by the way. That is some of the videos back in the day. Believe it or not. And what I did was I transferred some of the old videos from like 2012 and 2013 onto this laptop that I just showed you, right? Now that I'm a Mac user, I'm using the Mac. I'm using OBS through the Mac now and shit. So I went back through some of the old stuff, and I gotta tell you guys, compared to where I was in 2013 to now, and again, I went back to watching the shit from back in the day, it's cringeworthy. It really, really is cringeworthy. I was calling you guys low light pieces of shits. I did the whole Bloodstained Lane gimmick, if you will. And again, I'm cool with Bloodstained Lane. I know now he's in a different place in his life, but I always said, and I think he knows this too, if it wasn't for Bloodstained Lane, there would have not been a heel Steven, if you will. So there's that as well. So anyway, back to this whole thing though. So they also talked about the impact of COVID-19 in WWE. Due to COVID-19 and related government mandated impacts on WWE, the company continued its various short-term cost reductions and cash flow improvement actions. Of course, they let go of a shitload of people as well. These actions contributed to WWE's enhanced liquidity. I'm probably butchering the word, but fuck it. Which reached $548 million in cash and in short-term investments as of June 30, 2020. This is what was said, apparently, by Vince McMahon, end quote. Our second quarter financial performance was strong and demonstrated our ability to respond to the challenges posed by COVID-19. We continue to adapt our business to the changing environment, focusing on the development of new content for global distribution platforms and increasing audiences' engagement to drive growth and value for our shareholders. In other words, listen, it's like he's coming up with excuses here almost. Again, yes, you got to find a way, but doesn't change the fact that you let go of a shitload of people, right? You furloughed a shitload of people as well. But at the end of the day, it just doesn't feel the same. The product itself, I'm just going to say it right now. There's some of you out there that like it. There's some of you out there, and I see this shit on Twitter. Oh, it's going good. Now I know what you're talking about. And then there's some that actually look at the shit and it's like, yo, this is tough to sit through. And again, these empty arena shows, again, this WWE edition of the pandemic, right? This pandemic edition of WWE has been cringe. I get it. They're making the effort. Even though you can make the argument they shouldn't be doing shows. That even goes for AEW and Impact Wrestling, which I think also Impact has been killing it. And I'll get into an Impact. I have an Impact review for you guys also here on the podcast as well. I'm going to get into Impact review in a little bit. So hang on tight for that. Hang on tight for that one as well. All right. So there's that. Where was I here? Our second quarter financial performance was strong. I mentioned that already, right? I mentioned that already. I mentioned that already. Apparently, also, WWE was being called out by investors in this call about the ratings decline. McMahon's strategy appears to blame the year-over-year rating decline on COVID-19 and WWE's lack of an audience, despite the fact that WWE's viewership woes precede this global pandemic by several years. McMahon pivoted to WWE's lack of an audience when posed with uncharacteristically, though, tough questions about the ratings from shareholders. They keep this in mind. Some of these shareholders right now, how can, again, a lot of these shareholders now, they're not dumb. They're not stupid as shit. They realize now, yo, listen, you can't fool us now. The ratings are going low. You can't fucking fool us, whether you like to or not. Just saying. That's what they're basically coming up with right now. Oh, yeah, he'll see me. How can I get a girl to like me? I'll get into it also in a little bit, man. Just hang on tight, brother. Hang on tight. I'll answer your questions. I will try to get a woman to like you and all that stuff. An actual woman, I'm just saying. Just keep that in mind, too. All right? So hang on tight, bro. Hang on fucking tight. All right, man? Or else I get the old school heel Steven to smack the shit out of you. But that's besides the point, though, okay? I don't want to do that either. I don't want him to do that. Okay? Just saying. Thirsty, by the way. I'm fucking thirsty, okay? Orange Gatorade, by the way, guys. That's the beverage of the day. Orange fucking Gatorade. Or was I here? And yeah, apparently, Vince McMahon noted that more than any other sport, WWE's audience is part of the program. McMahon noted its audience interaction that is always the plus and talks up the organization of this genre, the yays and the boos. The audience is integral to the success of our programming, said McMahon, before admitting that WWE could have more compelling characters. No shit. Compelling storylines and more content to focus on personalities and content outside of the ring. Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes, you do need more compelling characters. Yes, you do need comparing storylines that make fucking sense, that people will get behind. And more content, more things to focus on the talent. But outside the ring, I don't know about that. And then things took a little twist here. Brandon Ross of the Lightshed Partners recently penned a report blistering WWE's business practices. I'm assuming, again, due to the whole pandemic and how they're running shows and all that stuff, asked why AEW and NXT have bounced back, ratings-wise, better than Raw and SmackDown. Ross went on to ask if WWE abandoned its youth movement by firing Paul Heyman and questioning the firing itself. Given Triple H's success with NXT, can he be elevated on Raw and SmackDown? McMahon attributed AEW's and NXT resurgence to the fact that they're new In regards to Heyman, McMahon said Heyman did a good job creatively before pivoting to explaining why WWE needs to build new stars. Throughout the call, McMahon continued to note that WWE's lack of an audience was the culprit behind the record low viewership, which we all know. Again, that the number lowering down has been going on for a while, whether you guys want to admit that or not. So this whole thing of the pandemic, yeah, you can make the argument. Let's be real about it. A lot of people have stopped watching because of the pandemic and the fact that it's an empty show. And I'll be real about it too. Like, even sports, I feel like hasn't really been the same. I know baseball is back, even though I heard it might get canceled again because of the pandemic and all that shit. NBA's back. I think it was back this past week. Soccer, the MLS, they're doing the playoffs right now, the We're Back tournament, whatever. And again, it's cool, it's awesome, but at the same time, it's, for me, again, I'm not really into sports like that. I'm more of a combat sports, a little bit of soccer, right? Even for me, it's tough to sit through this stuff knowing, hey, it's not the same. Again, I'm happy that these guys are getting paid, they're doing their thing, all the fuck you want, but it's tough to just watch this and sit there and realize there's no audience. Hell, I saw highlights from, I think it was yesterday, it was the Portland Timbers, this is the MLS, by the way, versus the New York FC. And again, they're doing it in Florida, this whole tournament, right? And there's no people in the building, but you can tell that they enhanced the audio to make it seem like, holy shit, there's people in the crowd. I know in baseball, they put cardboard cutouts of people as they're sitting in the seats when they're not. I know WWE, obviously, they're having their trainees for the Performance Center act as the fans, if you will. Which is another thing, too. There's no really an answer when there'll be fans back into the arenas, if you will, or back at these shows. I know WWE's in talks right now, trying to get fans back in, even if it's a small capacity, which, again, I don't even know if it's going to happen or not. Not this year. I doubt it. Which brings me now to the next topic. And again, yes, the ratings are going to get even lower now that the NBA is back. So to keep that in mind, too, in sports and even the NFL, once that comes back, it's over. And matter of fact, in a couple of months, the election and all that stuff, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be insane, right? And what will be Vince's excuse then? That's the question. That is the fucking question in the whole thing right now. And speaking of Vince and all that stuff and WWE, and again, the desperation to try to build new stars, but now more importantly, SummerSlam is in a couple of weeks. Yeah, a couple of weeks from now, right? And yet, they are going out of their way to find a new location because they don't want to film SummerSlam at the Performance Center. Again, SummerSlam, for those of you who don't know, is considered to be WWE's second biggest show of the year. Yeah, did y'all know that? It's their second biggest show of the year. It's next after WrestleMania, right? Right, the biggest party of the summer. I've had the opportunity to attend 2 SummerSlams. Yeah. 2016, 2017. I've been to 2 SummerSlams at the Barclays Center. Right? Overall, had a fun time. Again, SummerSlam was going to be in Boston at the TD Garden Arena before the world went to shit. I said this a couple of months ago. The plan was for me and Walter, at Hey I'm Walter, by the way, who's doing fine, by the way. I know he hasn't been on the show for a long time. Again, he's doing his thing. I'm happy for him. He has a girlfriend now. So he's no longer Mr. I just fucked your girl, even though kind of still is in a way too. And again, not like that, but you kind of get the idea. All I'm saying, listen, you guys are lucky. All of you guys out there, you guys are lucky that you don't see me and Walter at any shows right now. Because if you did, A, Walter would fuck your bitch, and B, I would be somewhere smoking a blunt, laughing my ass off, calling you a dork while Walter fucks your girlfriend. I'm just saying. But again, he's doing his thing. He has a girlfriend now. He's happy. I'm happy for him. And I just hope that, again, they have more things to come in their future and all that stuff. Anyway, the plan was for us to go to SummerSlam. We were going to do a road trip. I was supposed to take a train from where I'm at to Connecticut. And once in Connecticut, where Walter lives at, we're going to take a road trip all the way to Boston. A blunt ride, an L ride, if you will, and all that stuff. And get high, have fun in Boston, get high with OK Fabe, who lives out in Boston, all that stuff. It was going to be crazy. It was going to be such a fucking amazing weekend. That didn't come to be because of the pandemic, which sucks. The NFL might not even happen, which is, wow, that's crazy. Hey, Heels. Hey, Heel. I was in a bad mood today. Thanks for cheering me up, bro. No problem, man. No problem. The rating's going to get lower and lower. The NBA's back. There's another thing, too, man. So, back to SummerSlam. So, because of all this now, WWE is in the desperation mode to find a place to have SummerSlam. Apparently, there's talk of doing this in an outdoor location, or even probably at a beach, or hell, even inside of in a ship, in a boat at sea. Now, the problem is that they're aiming for the East Coast. The problem is, though, a lot of these states do not want to have this event. They're planning also, WWE that is, right? If they can get a spot, allow fans to go in, even if it's a small capacity, if you will. Because again, it sucks that WrestleMania was done in an empty venue. The last thing they want to have is their second biggest show of the year go through the same thing. Even though I'm going to just say this right now, I'm going to predict this right now. There's no chance in hell that SummerSlam gets a location. I predict, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I predict that they will have SummerSlam at the Performance Center. Reality is going to sink in. Listen, SummerSlam's in a couple of weeks. Okay? It'll be a miracle if they find a spot. Now, granted, keep this in mind too, right? And I said this last week. A lot of these independent shows are running events in an outdoor environment. The fact that these indie fans are allowed to run shows, yet WWE can't even get an outdoor event for SummerSlam, that's crazy. That's insane, right? Also, the fact, let's be real about it, no state right now want to take that chance. Granted, the Northeast, right? New York, New Jersey, I guess Boston, Philadelphia, what have you, New York, we're in the clear, as in we're not completely, COVID free, but we're handling this shit to the best of our abilities better than other states right now. Compared to where things were in March and April, things have gotten a lot better. Granted, there is an increase again. It's happening, if you will, but it's not to the point now where, oh my God, we're like Florida and shit, or California or Texas, if you will. The point is, though, again, it's a risk right now. It's a fucking risk if you're WWE trying to get a spot right now. Because let's say none of these states want to host the event. I mean, it'll be cool. In all honesty, the idea of them having an event in an outdoor location, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Believe me when I say that. It's just difficult for it to happen now in the middle of a global pandemic that we're in right now. The last thing, listen, as much as I don't want to see it happen, but it's going to happen, like I mentioned earlier, SummerSlam at the Performance Center. Because reality of this too, we don't even know when. By when can fans be allowed to go back into these arenas, not just for wrestling, but for other events too, for sports, concerts. You just think about it, right? We don't even know. No one knows right now. Hell, didn't they say in Boston till like September something? Especially here in Jersey, like I was supposed to go to Dynamite a couple of weeks ago and it didn't happen. For AEW, was originally supposed to be in March, it got pushed to July. Now it's getting pushed to February. So the reality is, it's gonna be a while since fans can go back into these arenas and do these shows again in an indoor location. But we'll see. Listen, at the end of the day, I hope they can find something. I really, really do. There's even been rumors that apparently they did find something. There's no thing. But if I'm WWE right now, if you're Vince McMahon, the fact that they couldn't get themselves a fight island like the UFC did in Abu Dhabi, that's crazy. I'm pretty sure Vince right now is on the phone with Dana White. Hey, Dana. Hey, pal. Hey, pal. God damn it, pal. God damn it. Can we borrow the Fight Island, pal? Ha ha. In Abu Dhabi, pal. What's that, pal? I love it, pal. I'm just saying, can you imagine? Right? But we shall see. Listen, at the end of the day, if they find a place, good on them. If they don't find a place, then they're going to be in deep shit. Completely deep shit. Fight Island, pal. God damn it. Fight Island, pal. It's real, pal. Fight Island is real. So there's that. The NFL might not even happen, like Mike mentioned earlier. So that being said, let's get into the wrestling, if you will, for the week. Like I mentioned before, I watched Raw on Monday like everyone else. I watched Impact on Tuesday. I just finished watching Dynamite today, early in the morning, in the afternoon, if you will. I didn't watch SmackDown, and I caught clips of NXT. Just keep that in mind as I'm talking about this today, okay? Keep that in mind, all right? So, with Raw this past Monday, I thought Raw was crap. I'll be honest about it. I thought Raw was just, ugh, to be honest with all of you. So, Orton came out. He came out at the beginning of the show. I remember he did beat the Big Show in that non-sanctioned match that was shit as well. And he issued a challenge for Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. Drew later on in the night accepted. So there was that. Like, you knew going into SummerSlam, right? Again, the fact that I mentioned this earlier, again, with the whole location thing, there's no structure right now. There's no build-up right now for SummerSlam. I even heard reports that the original script was scrapped, was torn apart and shit multiple times. So just keep that in mind too. So anyway, there's that. As Orton's leaving the ring, Nia Jax comes out and she's in the ring, talks about the absence of Charlotte Flair and the lack of thereof of the Raw Women's division. Out comes Shayna Baszler. They start brawling. They have a match later on in the night. Oh boy, they finally let them fight. I guess Shayna is a babyface or a tweener. I'll say this: the only positive thing about all this shit, Shayna's on television, if you will. Even though it's stupid, it's crap, but I'll take it. For what it's worth, I'll take it. We had Angel Garza and Andrade in a three-way tag team match to determine the number one contender for the Street Profits at SummerSlam. It was them two, Garza and Andrade, versus Ricochet and Cedric Alexander versus the Viking, I believe it was the Viking Raiders, right? I believe it was the Viking Raiders. And they ended up getting the win. That being Andrade and Garza after Garza hit the wing clipper on Alexander. So now they face the Street Profits at SummerSlam. And there's that. It should be a fun match, even though they've had this match before, or some sort of it, if you will. But again, it is at this point in juncture, is at this point them trying to just put something on the card, if you will. From there, we had Shayna and Nia brawl. They had a match and a double count out. Referees came and both Shayna and Nia attacked, and Pat Buck, who got furloughed and got brought back to WWE, got attacked as well. So there's that too. From there, we had Dominic Mysterio. That's right, because he's going to confront Seth Rollins. Dominic Mysterio came out, and he wearing these Yeezys, by the way. One thing I know about Dominic, he's very fashion trendy. Yeah, he is. One day you'll see him wearing Yeezys. One day he's wearing Balenciagas on his feet. And here's the thing about it. I'm not here to judge. Do you, homie? But if I'm going into a fight, or going into an ass kicking, right? Two things. I am not wearing Yeezys. I am not wearing Balenciagas. I'm either wearing Gore-Tex boots, right? Gore-Tex boots or steel toes of any boots of some kind. If you are someone and you are getting your ass kicked by someone wearing Yeezys or Balenciagas, I cannot break bread with you. Just saying that right now. If you are someone and you get beat up by someone wearing Yeezys and Balenciagas, I cannot break bread with you. I cannot. I mean, does the dude own Supreme? I'm just saying. But anyway, he comes out. He's very fashion trendy. I noticed that. Again, when you're the son of a wrestling legend, you didn't have to work for anything. You just your dad just gave you everything almost. Fuck it. It is what it is. But that's how he comes off. I don't know if you watch the show, right? He comes off like he's better than everyone. Like, oh, look at me. I'm very bougie and shit. That's how he comes off as a bougie kid, if you will, right? Probably kick my ass, but I'm just saying, all right? He comes out. Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy are in the ring. Dominic comes out. Seth is offering to open his hands out to hug him and shit. Dominic takes him down. He gets ambushed by Murphy and Rollins, thrown around the plexiglass. Aleister Black comes out, and Rollins and Murphy make quick work of him. They work on the injured arm. They do a curve stomp on the outside, and then Seth Rollins tells Buddy Murphy to place Aleister Black's eye in the corner of the steel step the same way Rollins attacked Mysterio. He was hesitant at first. Rollins slapped him, and then Murphy did it. Dominic regrouped, grabbed the kendo stick, and started swinging for the fences as both Rollins and Murphy went away. I like the fact, well, not really, I don't. Again, there's all this talk of Aleister Black and they're not using him right. He might get repackaged. I don't fucking know. But it just comes off as, again, you know, we don't even know if Ray's even staying with the company. We don't even know. I want to believe that he is, to team up with his son. That's my belief at SummerSlam is going to be Mysterio and Dominic versus Rollins and Buddy Murphy. But other than that, it's like, okay, here's Ray's son, who's bougie as shit, right? Bougie like a motherfucker. Comes right out and gets attacked and all that. But at the same time, what I did like is that he regrouped. And there's that. There's that. Where was I here? We had Mustafa Ali, who's gonna battle Bobby Lashley. And MVP tried to recruit Mustafa Ali into the Hurt Business. Despite MVP pleading, Ali was not having any of it. And MVP tried to convince Ali that he was making the wrong decision. R-Truth crashed the scene in hopes of reclaiming the 24/7 championship from Shelton Benjamin, but he came up short, and Mustafa Ali lost to Bobby Lashley. And then out of nowhere, you had fucking Akira Tozawa with his ninjas come out, try to pin Shelton Benjamin to no avail. So there was that too. You had Buddy Murphy and Humberto Carrillo. Murphy got through him with Murphy's Law. That was cool to see. And then we had the main event, Drew and Dolph in an Extreme Rules match, because again, Drew McIntyre had the ability to choose the stipulation. That's right, he had the ability to choose the stipulation for the match. And he chose an Extreme Rules match. All you got to know about this is that Drew won, and after the match, Randy Orton hit an RKO out of nowhere. And that's how they closed the show. Again, just felt very dull. Am I excited for SummerSlam for this build? No, to be honest with you. But that was Monday Night Raw. Whatever. Anyway, reading some questions real quick. I want to answer some questions here. Do you think Dominic would get the Mysterio mask passed down to him? Yes and no. Yes, he probably will pass it down, but do I see WWE having him wear a mask? I don't think so. Because let's be real about it. If you look at Dominic Mysterio, and again, no homo, the guy comes off like a charming dude. I did mention earlier, he's very bougie, right? Balenciagas, he's Yeezys, very hipster, if you will. I guarantee there's some women out there that find him attractive, if you will. So I don't think the idea of having him wear a mask, I don't know. I mean, I guess why he would want to do it, to honor his father, but I don't think WWE would even allow it. But that's just me, of course. Okay? Hey, heel, again, I'm in a bad mood. Thanks for cheering me up, bro. No problem, Silva. But you asked me, how can I get a girl to like me? Okay, simple. How to get a woman to like you, to appreciate you who you are, is simple. Be yourself. Let her see. Honestly, listen. If it's, how do I put this? If you're trying to fuck her and leave, if you okay, I've done that before in my day. Not proud of it, but it is what it is. Then you know what? Have a high aura to you. Right? High aura. You gotta just ooze machismo in a way. Right? Now, if you are trying to have a relationship with this person, long lasting, right? You go from friends to boyfriend and girlfriend to husband and wife, kids, the whole 9 yards. Let her see the worst of you first. Let her see the worst of you. And if she sticks around, she's a keeper. Now, that's me talking right now. I just got a text from the old school heel Steven. And he just told me right here, listen, man, here's what he said in quote. Tell Silver Surfer to stop being a simp, right? Let that floozy know that she needs to cook him a steak mid-rare. And if she can't cook the steak mid-rare, she ain't fucking worth it. That's from the old school heel Steven to you, Silver Surfer. That's apparently how you would know how to get a girl to like you, apparently. So there's that. What's up, Howard? How are you? Let's see here. Which version of the WWE draft would you like to see in October? Because apparently there's going to be another draft as well. The lottery pick concept or the war room? Honestly, to see the old robot again, I want to see the war room. However, honestly, I prefer the old school lottery pick. That's just me, of course. Speaking of October and all that shit and Summerslam that I didn't mention it earlier, but there's going to be another pay-per-view, apparently. Following SummerSlam, the week after SummerSlam, there's another pay-per-view called Payback. So yeah, WWE right now, they're on the fucking needle right now. Holy shit. What the fuck, WWE? What the fuck? Yeah, if she can't cook, let her go. I mean, yeah, no. Yes and no. What I try to look for in a woman are three things. I want to see cooking skills, knitting skills, and a credit report. Yes. At least 2 out of 3 I'm okay with. But at the end of the day, me being me, because I am a culinary major, by the way, I will be the one doing the cooking, basically. But there's that. Anyway, I did mention that I watched Impact this past Tuesday. Yesterday, I watched the worst pay-per-view of all time, talking Shopomania. Holy shit, what the fuck did I sit through? I thought the boner yard match between Chad Too Bad and Sex Ferguson was entertaining for what it was worth. Funny as all hell too. Yes, I was stoned. That's how you can watch this show. Either if you're drunk or you're stoned. You can't watch the show sober. Just saying that right now. Anyway, speaking of Impact Wrestling, I did watch Impact Wrestling this past Tuesday. Crazy enough, I, on Wednesday morning, filmed a review. I filmed the review, but I forgot to upload it because I was just lazy, right? Long day. It is what it is. Anyway, what I'm going to do right now is play you guys the Impact review from this past Tuesday, right? For Impact this past Tuesday. I filmed this on Wednesday, by the way. I'm going to play it here right now for you guys to watch. All right, I'm going to mute my microphone, and once the review is done, I'll give my thoughts on AEW, some NXT thoughts, and all that stuff. All right, so make sure, again, you listen, enjoy my Impact review. All right, I'm going to mute my mic here, but more importantly, this is, again, is still another installment of Around the Point. All hell broke loose at the conclusion of Impact with the Good Brothers and Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. Eddie Edwards initiated the first Impact Championship defense of his weekly open challenge against Trey Miguel. And we had the debut of the Wrestle House. And with that, was this episode of Impact better than last week's? In my opinion, no. I thought, honestly, if you want my honest opinion, I thought last week's show was a little better. Considering the fact that last week's show was the Impact after Slammiversary, they had that momentum. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this show, was bad, but no, by no means at all. I thought this show was pretty solid. It just wasn't really my cup of tea compared to last week's show, if you will. I thought the Wrestle House stuff was entertaining as all hell. Don't get me wrong. I just wish when I watched that, and I'm going to say this again later on in this review, that the Wrestle House had its own show on Impact Plus, something like that, away from the episode of Impact. On this episode of Impact, there really wasn't that much wrestling. It was more segments. And I know what you're going to say. Oh, but Steve, there was matches in the Wrestle House. Yeah, but those matches really didn't have major implications like we had in the opening match between Eddie Edwards and Trey Miguel, or in the match between, in the main event of the tag team between the Good Brothers and Reno Scum, and all that fun stuff. But again, guys, this is your Impact Wrestling review for July 28th, 2020. As I'm recording this right now, it is July 29th. I did say with these Impact reviews, if I'm off Tuesday from my second job in the afternoon, I will be doing an Impact review the following morning. If I'm not able to do one, I will be talking about Impact on the Sunday episode of Around the Point. Suck that had to watch it on Twitch. And now, here's the thing about it, okay? I have no issue watching it on Twitch like that. I think, again, it's smart that Impact is putting their show on Twitch. I don't have Access TV, so I'm not able to watch on Access TV. If I could, I would, to be honest. And here's the thing about it. I think it's cool that Melissa Santos is interacting with fans. She's having a fun time. There's nothing wrong with that. But goddamn, just having her sit there and on her you can tell she's on her iPhone, on Skype on her iPhone. This is the vibe I get. I feel like Impact tells her, hey, listen, just get on Skype on your phone. We'll take care of the rest. But goddamn, it's annoying when I'm watching the stuff on Twitch and I just hear the notification vibrate, boom, 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 every 20 fucking seconds. The audio quality, the picture quality, it's very, very Bush League, in my honest opinion. I think it's cool that she's interacting with fans. I think that's awesome. Okay. However, I do feel like, again, if you're Impact Wrestling, what they should do for Melissa in this situation, hey, listen, have her learn how to use OBS or XSplit, because I guarantee you they're using that to stream the show on Twitch. You can't tell me otherwise, right? Whatever streaming program that they're using, have her learn it, right? Teach her, right? Send her a gaming laptop or a PC to home and have her learn. That's my honest opinion. To make it at least look like, it's a little top notch, especially for Twitch. That's just me. Okay? But this notion of her being on her iPhone, on Skype, and the quality of the audio and the picture just all over the fucking place. It's annoying. It's just fucking annoying as all hell. But again, because I don't have Access TV, I have to put up with Twitch. So there's that. But again, I thought the show overall was pretty solid. But I asked you guys this question: your thoughts on the show? Did you enjoy the show or not? What did you enjoy from Impact? What did you enjoy? The title defense of Eddie Edwards versus Trey Miguel? Did you enjoy the Wrestle House debut? And all that fun stuff. You can follow me on Twitter at HeelSteven. And all that fun stuff, all right? If you're new to the channel, again, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, be notified when I upload a video, and also when I go live for another edition of Around the Point. So the show kicked off with Eddie Edwards and Trey Miguel for the Impact World title. Now, here's the thing about it, okay? I understand that the Good Brothers were making their tag team debut on Impact. But at the same time, and my big issue is to me, and again, I get it, it's an open challenge. I get that. But being as the first one, at least put that in the main event. To me, that should have closed your show. It's your world champion, Eddie Edwards, in his first title defense. I know eventually these open challenges are going to get stale. Yes, they're good matches, all the fuck you want, but eventually they're going to get stale. But I think for the first title defense, put it in the main event. In my opinion. Again, it's the world champion, his first defense. It's supposed to be a fucking big deal. And I thought overall they had a very good match. Like, you knew going in, Trey wasn't going to win. You already knew that already. But again, they gave you this whole belief, this whole thought that, oh, Trey can pull it off. Trey gave it his all. And I think it's cool, too, that, yes, Eddie Edwards is a veteran, been around for so long. They mentioned his accolades, multiple-time world champion, like two-time world champion, multiple-time tag team champion, X Division champion. You forget that he's a Triple Crown champion. Holy shit. In Impact Wrestling. And also, he won the GHC Heavyweight Championship in Pro Wrestling Noah in Japan. He's a veteran of the game. And someone like Trey Miguel, who's probably in his early 20s right now, to be competing with someone of the caliber of Eddie Edwards, that's awesome. At his age right now, and again, I don't know how long he's been doing this. I think it's awesome. It's a learning experience. And again, you're giving your young talent the platform. You're giving your young talent the moment, if you will, competing against the world champion. It kind of reminds me in a way, and again, I don't want to put this in a WWE perspective, but in 1994, Bret Hart competed against the 1-2-3 Kid on an episode of Monday Night Raw for the WWE title. At the time, the 1-2-3 Kid was still new. He was still considered, for a lot of people, a rookie, if you will. But he hung in there with Bret Hart. He hung in there. I'm not trying to say that this was at the same level by no means at all, but I'm trying to give you guys an analogy, if you kind of get my drift here. But there's a moment in the match I thought was pretty cool. Trey went for this like low cutter, like from like under the bottom rope, and hit a cutter on Eddie Edwards for a near fall. Eventually, it was all said and done. Eddie hit the Boston Knee Party for the 1-2-3, and he is still your Impact World Champion. After this, Eric Young, my bad, Psycho Iwa, the best heel in wrestling. What's up, Alucard? Eric Young, yes, the Maniac, if you will, the Worldwide Maniac. I think that's what they're calling him now, the Worldwide Maniac. He comes out, and he basically is letting Eddie Edwards know that, hey, he is going to challenge him for the championship. It's his time when he wants it. Now when Eddie wants it. And again, you already know that they're already telling you that is going to be the first title defense of Eddie Edwards as the Impact World Champ. Like the major program, if you let me correct myself. The first major world title program is Eddie and Eric Young. Because why the fuck not? Right? If you're Impact Wrestling, you pick up Eric Young, you want to get that dirty stench that he had in WWE. You put him in this spot, right? Potentially in the world title program with Eddie Edwards. And honestly, I look forward to the match when it happens. Should be a fun match. Not to go crazy about, but still, nonetheless, we've seen Eric Young before in the past in Impact compete for the world title. Remember, he had that feud with Kurt Angle, Bobby Roode. So there's that. We'll see what happens with all that fun stuff down the road. We get the debut of Wrestle House. Wrestle House is basically this spin-off of, or this parody, if you will, or their take on Big Brother. Now, granted, I don't watch reality TV. I don't. I know people that watch Big Brother. That's what they've told me. Oh, it's like Big Brother almost. And I guess so. You had a bunch of wrestlers, to name you a few, or a bunch. You had Kylie Ray. You had Ace Romero, his partner, whose name I don't even know. Again, I don't watch Impact like that. I'm just starting to get back into the mix of watching Impact. You had Johnny Swinger, who I think is funny as all hell. You had Johnny Bravo. You had Taya Valkyrie, Rosemary, Crazy Steve, Sue Young, or Susan, I guess that's her name there, or Susie, whatever. Alicia Edwards, and I think also Cody Deaner and Cousin James, or Jesse. Again, I'm butchering the names. It is what it is. That's how we're doing this, all right? And you had the host being Tommy Dreamer. Apparently, it's Tommy Dreamer's house. even though he's from New York. I think they're in Canada for this. Apparently, Tommy Dreamer bought houses with some of that ECW money before those checks expired. So there was that. It was funny. There's a moment in this whole thing where they're like, oh, no way, Jose. And then Tommy's like, oh, that we did not sign. So there's that. I thought, again, it was very funny. One thing about Impact that I noticed, they're very, when it comes to shit like that, they're very off the cuff. And that's fine. I'm fine with that. But this was more like, again, when I said this earlier in the review, I really wish they would have kept this away from Impact, the television show. And I'm not saying that all because I thought this was terrible. No, I thought this was good. I thought it was funny. My only thing is, though, what I want to see from this, it's be its own show on Impact Plus. Hey, you want people to watch this? Tune into Impact Plus. Because they're going to give you a shitload of episodes of wrestling. They can make probably 10 episodes out of this. What have you. And put it on Impact Plus. I guarantee you, if this was WWE, right? And they came up with something like this, yeah, it would probably be shitty as all hell. But they'll probably put it on the WWE network. Because they probably couldn't get it on television. But hey, they'll make you want to get to the network to watch this. And again, if you're Impact, something to get people to watch Impact Plus or sign up for Impact Plus, put Wrestle House. Get 10 episodes in there, what have you. Make them 20 minutes, 30 minutes long each episode. But there you go. It's something like that. Okay? There's moments in this episode. I'm not going to go through everything, but just to summarize real quick. There's some comedic stuff here. We saw Crazy Steve trying to find a bed. With Johnny Swinger, I guess, beat him too, but he gave him an offer to be his young boy. That being Crazy Steve beat Johnny Swinger's young boy. We had, what was it? There's a moment where I think it was Ace Romero and Crazy Steve. They're fighting in the ring because apparently they want to sleep in the ring. That's where they wanted to sleep. They even said, oh, the winner gets, I guess, $1 million or something like that. It could be more. $10 million, $1 million, but it wasn't even true. We had, again, Ace Romero and Crazy Steve had a match. Ace Romero got the win, so I guess he gets to sleep in the ring. We also had another match between both the Deaners, I guess, Cousin Jesse, Cousin James, and Cody Deaner. Because apparently one of them were snoring, but it was Tommy Dreamer in the bed too. I think Cousin Jesse got the win. Cousin James got the win, or Cousin Jesse. I don't know his fucking name. He got the win. I got the guy dating Ruby Riott. Let's put it that way, okay? That guy got the win. And it was that again. It was in between. I didn't mind. Like I said before, I didn't mind this at all. I just wish, again, you put this on Netflix. I'm not Netflix, but Impact Plus. I know a lot of Impact were saying, oh, this should be on Netflix. I'm like, nah, bro. Let's not get crazy, all right? Let's not jump the gun on shit. It is what it is. From there, we get, let's see here. We get like a little video package, right? Of the Motor City Machine Gun because they are the Impact Tag Team Champions and they're hyping up Impact Plus. They showed a match between the Motor City Machine Gun versus Beer Money from Victory Road 2010. And I remember 2010, they had like this best of 5 series, which was fucking amazing. They had this whole thing in the match like at the pay-per-view they were showing. You had Brian Hebner, who was the referee, who got fucking blinded by beer. So then Earl, who's his father, came in, and then eventually both referees did a count. And it was like, oh, who won? No one knew. They started the match, and the Motor City Machine Guns got the win. They became the new tag team champions and stuff like that. We see basically they interview the North. The North, that being Ethan Page and Josh Alexander, they weren't happy. Ethan Page was lost for words. He couldn't say anything. And it reminded me, and I said this last week, Ethan Page is a throwback of Bobby Roode. When Bobby Roode lost the Impact World title to Austin Aries at Destination X, the following Impact, he was also lost for words. Until, again, he was trying to say something, but he couldn't say it. And then all he did was just scream out fluke and just left. That's what kind of what it reminded me here a little bit. It kind of did. Eventually, though, what Alexander wanted to say is that next week they're getting the rematch, or they're invoking the rematch clause. So now there's that. We also see Rohit Raju backstage talking to TJP and Falaba, trying to get TJP to compete with the X Division title. It looks like, even though TJP is now in the tag team division. And again, Rohit Raju persuading TJP to compete for the X Division title. And then Rohit Raju runs all the way to find Chris Bay, who's the X Division champion, and tells him that, hey, TJP and Falaba are coming for your title. You got a target on your back. You need me to help you out and shit. So there's that. I was fine with it. It is what it is. They also had an interview with Ace Austin and Madman Fulton about the recent issues with the Good Brothers. Ace says that he is going to be paying very close attention to the Good Brothers in-ring debut versus Reno Scum tonight. So there was that. From there, we get Katie Forbes and Rob Van Dam. They were going to premiere these photos from Katie's website that people have to pay money to, but they're going to watch it for free here. For free. Before this, she bumps into Sami Callihan, who was talking to Ken Shamrock, and Ken went away, what have you. She bumps into Sami Callihan, that being Katie Forbes. And Katie thinks this dude's just a fan. And there was that. And I guess later on, you see Rob Van Dam finding Sami Callihan, because again, Katie thought that, Sami Callihan was trying to annoy her or shit, whatever. So there was that. You know where they were going with this. A Rob Van Dam, Sami Callihan program. I'm just gonna say this: Rob Van Dam looks old as shit in Impact Wrestling. He just looked old as shit. Really, really does. But there's that. We get also a promo of EC3 where he talked about he must destroy his past. EC3 reflects on his journey in professional wrestling. He says when he looks into the mirror, he sees failure. Despite his championship reigns and multiple victories over Hall of Famers, EC3 says that in order to take back his power, he must destroy his past and control his narrative. Again, a very dark, creative promo by EC3 here, and all that stuff. So I was fine with that as well. We get Heath, almost said the S word, but nah. He, I guess, bumped into Moose, who was being interviewed, and I guess all this led to, Heath accepting the invitation of Moose to challenge for the TNA heavyweight title. Moose accepts, and then Scott D'Amore says, hey, if you beat Moose, then you get a contract next week. So there's that. I mean, the idea that Heath could probably win, I don't think so. But they're going to milk this shit, though. They're going to milk the fuck out of it. We had Deonna Purrazzo versus Kimberly. I thought this match was okay. There's a dominant match where Deonna Purrazzo had her moment. She locked in the Fujiwara armbar, where eventually Kimberly tapped out. Then after out came Jordynne Grace, and Jordynne Grace basically was in a sling. She took it off and she attacked Deonna Purrazzo, wanting her rematch. So there was that. From there, we get, like I mentioned earlier, a match between Cousin Jake and Cody Deaner. Yeah, Alicia as the referee. The loser left the room. I already talked about that earlier. So there was that. We also had Katie Forbes and RVD. They're in the ring to present these photos. They did a countdown, and it looks like Sami Callihan hacked the photos. He put his face, where Katie's face was with her body. So there's that. So, like I said before, we're going to get a Sami Callihan and Rob Van Dam program at Impact Wrestling. But they could have come up with a better way to do this. Not with this, but hey, you know what? It should be a fine match, even though I said earlier that Rob Van Dam is already old as shit. So there's that. From there, we get a interview between Josh Matthews and Madison Rain, who they interviewed Rich Swann, who was at home. They were on Skype. And basically here, right, Chris one, he struggled to talk about the consequences that happened right at Summerslam when Eric Young attacked him with the brutal attack after eliminating him in that fatal 5-way. But he says that he will be there next week to talk about it. So there's that. We also got a little video thing with the Rascals, that being Dez and Wenz. They had suicide. And I get this whole thing. It's basically their spin on the circle in that 70s show where they're laughing, they're getting high. Suicide got high. For whatever reason, Dez thought he was a Power Ranger. That being Suicide was a fucking Power Ranger. So there's that. It's meant for funniness. I'm fine with that too. From there, we get the main event. We got the Good Brothers versus Reno Scum in the main event. The Good Brothers tag team debut in Impact Wrestling. And I thought overall this match was okay. Nothing to go crazy about here. Like, you knew going in. You knew that the Good Brothers were going to get the win. You had Ace Austin show up sitting on top of the ramp watching the match. The match ended when they hit the Magic Killer on one of the guys from Reno Scum for the 1-2-3. And after this, Ace Austin comes down to the ring. Madman Fulton, who was hiding under the ring, and they all start brawling. They start brawling in the ring, on the stage area. They go to the back. They have a camera with them. And it looked very cinematic, the quality, which I thought was cool. And they're brawling in the back. And eventually, all this leads to Gallows kicking Fulton, and Fulton bumps into the camera guy. And that's how they close the show. Again, overall, I thought the show was solid. Not as good as last week. I do look forward to next week, though. We're going to get another title defense from Eddie Edwards. We're going to get Rahi Raju, I think Chris Bay, versus the team of TJP and Falaba. I could be wrong on that one. I could be wrong. We're also going to be getting the tag team title rematch. So there's that. Again, overall, a solid show. Give me thoughts in the comments below, your thoughts on Impact. Did you enjoy this show or not? Follow me on Twitter at HeelSteven. And we're back. There you go. I hope you guys enjoyed that Impact review for everything that it was worth. Again, I did that on Wednesday morning. I recorded that, and I ended up not uploading it. I was tired. I was lazy, but I think what you just saw wasn't really a bad concept, though. So I think going forward, that might be something to do. I guess for me, it's like a little mini break, if you will, 20-minute break. But I hope you guys enjoyed the Impact review for what it was worth. Guys, chime in with your thoughts on what I mentioned about Impact this past Tuesday and all that stuff. But I do wish, though, again, that the Wrestle House, I wish it was its own thing on Impact Plus to get people to subscribe or sign up for that service. I do hope that Melissa Santos really, and again, she's nice to look at. I mentioned this in the review. I just think her hosting the show on Twitch, the way she does on her iPhone, right, it's just unbearable to sit through. It really, really, really is. I really hope Impact can definitely just hook her up or something, if you will. That be just something, a new laptop, a computer. I don't know what the fuck it is, but hopefully they do. Anyway, moving on. Let's get into some AEW, All Elite Wrestling. I did watch the show, like I mentioned earlier today. I'm not going to go really deep into everything that happened on the show, just some of the big stuff that happened. I did watch Cody versus Warhorse in the TNT Championship match. Where do I even begin with this? And here's the thing, I think it's cool that they bring in people from the independent scene, give them the platform to perform. I think that's awesome. That's great. However, and again, I've never watched Warhorse up until literally early today, right? It would have been Wednesday, but you kind of get the idea. And I look at this guy, and it's like, bro, where the fuck did they find this guy? And again, I know a lot of you might have heard of him before, you might have watched him, what have you, and that's fine. But you're talking to someone who just watched him for the first time, and again, first impression, he reminds me a lot. And again, if you guys watched Hey Arnold when you were a kid, what would happen if Monkey Man became a wrestler? That's literally what I got. Granted, he's supposed to be, he has the face paint of Ultimate Warrior, but he's Ultimate Warrior beta almost, without the muscles and shit. He has the voice when he's talking, he screams and shit. I thought the match, for what it was worth, Cody carried this kid to a match, basically. Yes, Warhorse does drop a good diving elbow off the top rope, but that was basically it. That's the vibe that I got from this. Okay, again, I think it's cool that you bring in guys from the independent scene, right? Give them the rub, give them the exposure, if you will. But I hope they really look into who the fuck they bring. Apparently fans wanted Cody to face Warhorse for a long time, and I hope those dorks were happy. I really did. But what really kind of irked me too, it kind of irked me as well, and I'm watching this, right? I'm watching all this shit go down, and I see, as they're introducing Warhorse, you see in the background, sitting there at ringside as the so-called fans for the show, I see Lance Archer and Jake Roberts. Two guys that were involved in a program with Cody leading up to Double or Nothing, and now here they are watching someone else attempt to beat Cody. Cody won the figure four. And after this, the members of the Dark Order, Silver and Reynolds, come out to attack Cody. They clear the ring, and it's them two and Arn. And Arn, look, he's about to go, and then out of nowhere, out comes, you guessed it, who was it? Matt Cardona. Matt fucking Cardona comes out, and what really, and again, listen, it's one of those things where they made it see, they wanted you to actually pretend like you knew who the fuck Matt Cardona was. I know who Zack Ryder is, if you will, but oh, it's Matt Cardona. Holy crap. Like, I'm supposed to know who is Matt Cardona. Again, I know who he is. The former Zack Ryder. They couldn't say, oh, the former Zack Ryder. That's just that. He comes out, he takes out both members of the Dark Order, and he celebrates in the ring. He has a new t-shirt, Strong Island. Right? He's still doing the LI thing, if you will, or, well, I guess. He's still doing the LI thing, right? And he's celebrating with Cody. And here's the thing, apparently next week is going to be Cody and Matt Cardona versus the two members of the Dark Order that were in the ring and shit. This, to me, and I said this on Twitter, is basically, once again, the Shawn Spears program. Where that's what I see when I look at Matt Cardona right now. He's going to, again, just like Shawn Spears, where he's going to have that big match with Cody going into All Out. He'll likely lose, and after that, it's whatever. After that, it's Matt Cardona being lost in the shuffle, just another guy on the roster, just like Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears was given that same momentum too when he debuted, remember? He left WWE, and granted, you know, he requested his release, and he got it, right? Matt Cardona, or the former Zack Ryder, got let go because of the pandemic. Right? And just like when Shawn Spears left, a lot of people said, oh, AEW gonna make him a big star. Watch, you wait and see. He's gonna be a big draw. You wait and see. AEW gonna do right by Shawn Spears, right? So what happens at, was it Fyter Fest, right? Shawn Spears comes out and he hits Cody with the steel chair, and that was the build up to All Out. They had a match that I thought was okay. But after, and again, they put him with Tully Blanchard, right, as his manager. And now look at Shawn Spears. What impact has he done on the AEW brand right now? Nothing. He's done nothing. And this is basically with Matt Cardona, Shawn Spears all over again. A lot of people are, yeah, you wait and see. They're going to make Matt Cardona a big deal in AEW. You wait and see. WWE dropped the ball. And I guarantee you, he's not going to move the fucking needle. He's not. Yes, he's a bigger name, but who gives a fuck? Just saying, who gives really a flying shit? I'll give you another example. Listen, all the guys that feuded with Cody were turned into damaged goods, with the exception of two people, MJF and Jericho. Look at Lance Archer. Lance Archer left New Japan Pro Wrestling as a former IWGP US champion, right? Granted, there's a lot of arguments of whether or not it was his title or not. It is what it is, right? He leaves New Japan, goes to AEW, right? And he's placed in this tournament to crown the TNT champion. They had that match of double or something with Cody, right? And Cody beats him, and now look at him, right? He's having this match where he should be Joey Janela like that, but it takes him a long time in this an anything goes type of match following that program with Cody. And now you look at him, he's just sitting there like it's nothing with Jake Roberts, who's a Hall of Famer. And now he's just another guy on the roster. So when people tell me, oh, Matt Cardona be this big draw, be this big deal in AEW, who are we kidding? Seriously, who are we kidding? Again, I'm happy for the guy. He's got a job. There's that, but other than that, it was whatever. It's fucking whatever. So there's that. What else happened on the show here? They had the contract signing of FTR with Arn Anderson, Tony Schiavone. Hangman Page comes out, offers whiskey. They do a cheers for the Mid-Atlantic. So there's that. Teasing the Four Horsemen, I guess, if you will. So we'll see how that goes down the road. We had Kenny Omega and Hangman Page versus Evil Uno and Stu Grayson in a tag team title match. Thought the match was pretty okay for what it was worth. Didn't go crazy, anything like that. But eventually, though, the members of the Elite got the win, that being Omega and Hangman Page. After this, you had members of the Dark Order surround the ring with all members of the Elite in the ring. FTR comes in to make the save. Next week, we're getting an 8-person tag match. I think we are, right? We're getting all members of the Elite. That's Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, the Young Bucks, and FTR, right? Versus the members of the Dark Order. Stu Grayson, Evil Uno, Brody Lee, Colt Cabana. I think also, who's the other guy? I think Reynolds and Silver, one of those guys, but that's going to happen next week as well. The opening match we saw on the show was another multi-person tag match. You had the Jurassic Express and Best Friends with Orange Cassidy, right? Versus the whole Inner Circle, the return of Sammy Guevara. I thought it was a good opener, but the only thing that I didn't like was the fact that you had Sammy Guevara, who just came back, getting pinned. I wasn't down with that. I really, really wasn't. We had the MJF State of the Wrestling Business. Basically him announcing that he's going to be challenging Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship at All Out. Makes sense, right? He's undefeated, technically. I know a lot of people online were saying, oh, he ripped EC3's promo from TNA a couple years ago. You can make the argument. But at this point, though, I thought, again, MJF on the mic is always going to be gold, no matter what. I think where he came from was, yeah, out of a good place. Right? I enjoyed it for what it was worth. So there's that. I thought it was funny, though, at the same time. But it should be a fun match down the road. The main event of the show was... Oh, yeah, by the way, I didn't mention this earlier. Fuck. So they're announcing this women's tag team tournament, right? And we find out that Nyla Rose is teaming up with Ariane Knight, the former Cameron from WWE. And it's like, bro, AEW bringing all these like former WWE guys. And I remember Cody a long time was talking about, oh, they're not going to try to bring all these former WWE talent. I'm going to focus on their talent. And it's like, I want to just believe that she's just there for the tournament and that's it. There's even talks of the former Tainara Conti also being in this tournament too. And again, it's a tag team, it's a women's tag team tournament. So there's that. So we'll see how all this goes. I don't really think though that Arion or the former Cameron is signed to AEW. I just think this for the tournament. Speaking of signings, AEW signed Eddie Kingston to a contract, which is a good move. I think if there's anyone that deserves to get signed, it's someone like Eddie Kingston. And I'll even go one step further. I think someone like Eddie Kingston, when it's all said and done, I know Cody does have a wrestling school with QT Marshall called the Nightmare Factory. If they were to do promo classes, I think the right person to teach that class is someone like Eddie Kingston. So there's that. The main event of the show was Jon Moxley and Darby Allin versus Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. I thought the match, for what it was worth, it was okay. I didn't go crazy about the spot at the end where Darby Allin grabbed the skateboard and did a stomp onto the back of Starks with the skateboard that had tacks in the bottom of it. Was kind of like, ugh. But at the end of the day, Darby Allin and Jon Moxley got the win. You find out that next week they're going to be taking on each other for the AEW World Title. So there's that. And apparently as well, there'll be a response from Jon Moxley to MJF. NXT this week, they lost in the ratings to AEW. I don't have the numbers on me right now, so I'm not going to even repeat it, but I'm pretty sure all you already know what it is. Just to get it out there real quick, I did see the clips here, right? They aired the clip of the Pat McAfee show with Adam Cole. What happened? Lets you think now there's going to be one giant work. So there's that. You have the Undisputed Era take out Imperium, the two members of Imperium, who are the tag team champions. You also had on this show Keith Lee responding to Karrion Kross for what happened last week in that match with Dijakovic. And it's Keith Lee that's angry. He's upset, right? He's mad. What happened? And out comes Cameron Grimes, who gets attacked by Keith Lee, to which then Karrion Kross shows up on the Titantron and does have a change of words with Keith Lee. You also had the triple threat of Finn Balor, Timothy Thatcher, and Dexter Lumis. I thought it was very well done. I was surprised, though, that Dexter Lumis got the win. I thought Finn might have got the win here, but that's just me, of course. So there's that. Honestly, there's that. Speaking of NXT, they ended up signing Leon Ruff to a contract. So that's cool to see. Again, because WWE now bought Evolve, a lot of these Evolve guys are going to be coming over to WWE through NXT. My only question is, are they going to end up signing the Evolve champion, that being Josh Briggs? I'm only curious on that to see if that actually does happen. So we'll see. SmackDown, I didn't watch SmackDown, but I caught the clips too. I did see the whole ending where Alexa Bliss was in the ring after Nikki Cross lost to Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title, to which Sasha... Oh, shit, I didn't mention this earlier on Raw. So you had Sasha and Asuka going at it, right? To crown the new Raw Women's Champion, to which Sasha Banks got the win because Bayley distracted Asuka on the Titantron, attacking Kairi Sane. To which Asuka ran to the back and got countered out. So Sasha's now the Raw Women's Champion. She's now the champ, if you will, along with Bayley. So here you had Nikki Cross and Bayley going at it, and obviously Bayley got the win, as expected. And Nikki Cross being angry about the loss, she is getting consoled by Alexa, to which Nikki pushes her. And the lights go out, the Fiend's in the ring, and he locks the Mandible Claw onto Alexa Bliss. So it was very, very well done. I was cool with it. Leading up to the build, I guess, to what's going to be the Fiend and and Braun Strowman when Braun comes back and all that stuff. AJ versus Grand Metalik for the Intercontinental Championship. I thought the match, from what I saw, was pretty good. I knew going in, though, that AJ was indeed going to win. And for what it's worth, though, again, it's cool to see them giving an opportunity to someone different for a change. So there's that. Shorty G, I guess, is now a heel. He attacked Matt Riddle at the end of the King Corbin and Drew Gulak match. I guess King Corbin tried to persuade or lure Shorty G to join the dark side, and he did. So there's that. Big E defeated The Miz, so there's that too. Again, you're pushing the singles run now, so I'm cool with that as well. I really am. I want to believe there's going to be Big E and Styles for the Intercontinental Championship going into Summerslam. I think that's basically everything that happened on the show. Unless, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville had a thing backstage where Sonya Deville snapped and attacked Mandy Rose and cut her hair. I thought it was cool. That was awesome. Good on Sonya Deville. Good on fucking Sonya Deville on that. So I guess that's everything that I need to mention on SmackDown, unless I missed something. Let me find out here again. Let me go to SmackDown here, guys. God damn it, pal. SmackDown. WWE. Let's see here. Did I miss anything from SmackDown? You guys will let me know. But still, I do. Oh, yeah, Naomi and Lacey Evans. They had a match. And there's one spot that apparently surfaced the internet. I guess Naomi tried to try to slide underneath the ring, or underneath the bottom rope into a Canadian Destroyer, which was a botch. It kind of sucked because, again, this whole hashtag of Naomi deserves better, and yet this happened, right? I think Naomi tried to go for a blockbuster, but I guess just the way things went, it just wasn't, again, it didn't look good. I don't think it's Naomi's fault, though. I think it's more to do with Lacey Evans, but that's just me, of course. But at the end of the day, it's your prerogative, if you will. I think now I covered everything. I want to believe I did. So there's that. Anyway, guys, this is going to wrap up the show. I want to thank all of you for tuning in, all that fun stuff. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below. Give the video a big old thumbs up. Share it through social media. And as always, guys, you can follow me on Twitter at HeelSteven. Around the Point is available on all the podcasting platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, Google Podcasts, also over at Anchor.fm. And with that being said, guys, I'm heading out. I am Steve, and this has been another installment of Around the Point. Subscribe, y'all.